Am I the only one who didn't know Telltale Games still exists? Did I hallucinate the closure of the company a few years ago? Turns out it's a little complicated. I recently found out about a video game adaptation of the sci-fi series The Expanse, called The Expanse, a Telltale series. This left me scratching my head, as I remember hearing how Telltale Games shut down and could have sworn their IPs were sold off to other companies. The final 2 episodes of the Walking Dead Telltale series being done by Skybound Entertainment, for example. In retrospect, I was aware that a second season of The Wolf Among Us was happening, but didn't bother to see who's developing it. Turns out, that is also being developed by Telltale Games, slated for next year, and there was even a trailer last year that I was also completely oblivious to. So what's the deal here? Well, I looked at the Wikipedia page for Telltale Games, and I indeed was remembering correctly that they did shut down in 2018. At least the original, I guess you could say, version of the company did. A company by the name LCG Entertainment bought many of the assets and was apparently free to start a new subsidiary using the name Telltale Games. This seemingly happened right after the initial foreclosure, and they've been slowly working their way up to rebuilding this brand and its credibility. A couple of relevant questions popped out to me on their official FAQ for The Expanse. Is The Expanse a Telltale series episodic like your old Telltale games? Our new games are episodic, but there's one huge difference. We've changed how we're developing games on the back end, so we can release seasons much quicker than in the past. We can guarantee that the remaining episodes will launch every 2 weeks after episode 1 launches on July 27th. Will this game play differently than older Telltale titles? It's an evolution of what we've done in the past. To convey the vastness of space, and it really is such a huge component of the show, we factor in things like gravity, floating in zero-G, walking on walls, and new ways to navigate open up exploration unlike old games. This is probably the most promising thing I've read about this relaunch of the company. If I remember correctly, the old Telltale grew too fast after the success of The Walking Dead and took on too many projects to maintain the same level of quality at a reasonable pace, and this is what led to their downfall. This new Telltale is making the entire game before even releasing the first episode. If this seems strange, there's actually a third question I can highlight here. If you're developing The Expanse, a Telltale series season all at once, why are you going episodic at all? Think of it like your favorite show. You watch an episode, you talk about it with your friends, and wonder what'll happen next. Then, a week or so later, the next episode is there. This is what we want to tap into with our games. Having a much shorter wait between episodes, 2 weeks, makes that possible. Because we can, just enjoy the ride, essentially. The question about gameplay is specific to this particular game, but I'm taking it as them finding a way to improve on the old company's template in general. Telltale's games were known for having almost the exact same gameplay and visual aesthetic across all their games, but across different IPs. If you ask me, this was always fine, as the focus of these games was the story first and foremost and could be compared to how all books are taken in by reading black text on white paper. Well then just read a book, Yuki, you say. Look, it's not the same, alright? Calm down. You still get voice acting and moving pictures. People play visual novels all the time, and those are even more focused on story than gameplay. Mini rant aside, I don't mind them ditching the comic book aesthetic of their old games. It worked for what they were going for, but these new visuals feel like a bit of a palate cleanser and an exclamation mark on the statement that this is a new Telltale Games. It looks like The Wolf Among Us 2 is keeping that old aesthetic, but I suspect that's because it's an IP returning from before the, shakeup. This concludes my first ever documentary video type thing. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, and share the video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you lovelies later. Johnny!